to the show. I'm Rashid Saleh.
And I am Iman Sabari, and we're going to take you on a journey that began 50 years ago.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy the sights of our hometown, Kuching.
Years is a long time, and I think for SEDC, it's been 50 years of commitment and innovation, 50 years of efforts, perseverance, versatility, 50 years of providing quality of service, which is to me a distinguishing element in what we do to the state. And 50 years of eyes set in the present and of course in the future. Now of course this 50 years anniversary to me is a celebration, a milestone in SEDC's journey for continuous improvement. And of course for us to reflect on the past, to reflect on the contribution of the past leaders. I mean, we have started with the chairmanship of Datuk Amin Satem, for example, back in early 70s. And then he passed the baton to Datuk Sufyan Safi, and of course to Tan Sri Effendi Nawawi, and later on to Datuk Talib Zulfilip. I think all these people, all these individuals have actually been instrumental in developing the organization and making the people or the people in the organization what it is today.
I must congratulate SEDC from before right to now. During my public career, 40 years, I have been associated with SEDC, and I could see the development of the business and economy, where SEDC has played its role.
I think firstly the SEDC was at the time was fully supported by the government. The Chief Minister was particularly looked after SEDC. I was accountable to him, and the cabinet was fully supportive. I had an incredible board. It was at the time was like Tan Sri Bujangno, Tan Sri Linggi. They were incredible, wise board members. But most of all, I had a terrific team. At the time, my deputy was Taufik, and then Tan Sri Aziz was my deputy. Well, we had a terrific, I had a terrific team, and under him was some incredible. We were all young, we were enthusiastic, we were full of energy. We wanted to change the world. It was a terrific team.
Overall, I can say that SEDC is the prime mover in a lot of development. Whether it's development in tourism, whether it's development in road projects, whether it's development in the oil and gas, whether it's development in makanan, hospitality and all that, food. SEDC is the key agency, is the key corporate body that is responsible in a lot of spin-off in development. We have to thank a lot of those down there, from the first CEO, chairman, to the present chairman.
We have some of the oldest buildings right here in Kuching, Sarawak. For example, the Astana was once owned by the Rajas and was built by Charles Brooke for his new wife in 1870.
Kuching was still such a young town back then. Only 50 years old, it was established in the 1820s under the Brunei Sultanate.
And now a lot has changed.
How so?
Well, now we're a region of Malaysia. So that means we're an equal partner in an independent nation. So Sarawak right now is a thriving place heading towards developed status by 2030.
You're right. I remember this area used to be just mud flats and jetties. People bringing goods downriver to sell.
And now we have our new House of Parliament, the Dewan Undangan Negeri, plus mostly new hotels alongside heritage shophouses.
Traditional villages across the river from the bustling business district.
Now, did you know that the hotel behind us is the first international hotel in Kuching?
Yes, that used to be the Holiday Inn. My uncle and aunts used to party there back in the 70s. It had Kuching's first discotheque, from Bionic Disco to Aquarius.
And also tribes. And that must have been the start of the tourism boom right here in Sarawak. And people came from all over the world to our little corner in Kuching. And it's all supported by the Sarawak Economic Development Corporation.
SEDC is actually the pioneer in this hospitality and hotel business in Sarawak. We were actually the first one to start the Holiday Inn, the first real hotel in Kuching back in the 70s. And of course, to me, we have seen the growth of SEDC's hotels and hospitality projects in Kuching.
The mission given to us at that time was if we could be a stimulus to the Sarawak economy, and also particularly looking to the building the business, Bumiputera business community. I think this was clear to us, and so this articulated in several projects in terms of economy. We were looking at tourism, so we were in the hotel industry, and then Holiday Inn was built during our time.
That must have been a pretty exciting time to live in Kuching.
None of this was here. There were no cat statues back then. And Kuching wasn't even a city yet.
No, that's right. But everything was changing, and everyone in Kuching came to the Holiday Inn.
My name is Kenny Tam. I'm the Director of Operation, and at the moment I'm the covering GM for the Margarita Hotel and Riverside Majestic Hotel. I started in 1990s after my tourism hospitality course there in Stanford, and I came here as an intern. So I started here since 1990 and I moved out until today.
Hi, my name is Anthea Yo. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing for Grand Margarita Hotel and Riverside Majestic Hotel. I started working in Holiday Inn Kuching in 1994, the end of 1994. That's 28 years ago. I'm more to a frontliner. I like to meet people, right? Before working in Holiday Inn Kuching, I was in Singapore, also in the front line. So then decided to come back to Kuching. I miss home, so I come back to Kuching and was looking for a job. So I would like to work in a hotel, so that's Holiday Inn Kuching, the ever famous Holiday Inn Kuching. So I applied and I got the job as a guest services officer.
My ex-colleagues, some of them are here, most of them are not here. Those regular guests that I have are now so-called close friends. So sad to say, some already passed, some already have retired, and of course the changes of the hotel from non-IT to IT, yeah, from more slow pace to faster pace. So these are some of the memories I have for this hotel.
When I was in Holiday Inn, I started in the front office before I joined the sales department. And in the front office, when I was from guest service officer, I came down as a reservation supervisor. Then in the reservation supervisor, my fondest memories then was there's a lot of interaction, a lot of guest interaction, not through face-to-face, as you know, reservations are on the phone. There's a lot of play with your tone of voice and how you portray yourself through your voice, right? Which later, as in the Holiday Inn program, we have a cross exposure. I was sent to Holiday Inn Manila. So I had a cross exposure there, and for 2 weeks I was there in Holiday Inn Manila. I came back and shared some experience with them, and to find that Holiday Inn as a brand, what you do here is what they're doing there also. It's similar, but to bring back what extra things that you learn from there back here. So it's sharing with all my friends here.
Back then, Kuching life was a bit slower pace, and everybody get to sit down and talk to each other. Compared to now, everybody's on a handphone, and people at that time are more they communicate more, personal communication.
Yes.
And they meet up. Yeah, if they want
Quite
to want to talk to each other, they'll meet up at a place like Holiday Inn that time, where we have a coffee house 24 hours. People come and meet up, we have a drink, coffee, chat with each other.
The difference between then and now, I would say, when I was in reservation, the phones are always ringing, right? Today, the phones are not ringing, but there are so other channels that the bookings are coming from, which you did 10 or 20 years ago, you never thought of that. Technology is in, right? You'll be more on checking your emails, checking on all your platforms where all the bookings are coming in, rather than guest interaction, talking to your guests. So it's a different way of serving your guests now.
At that time, Kuching, or I can say Sarawak, this is the first international hotel brand chain, Holiday Inn, and at that time, actually Holiday Inn set the standard of hotel in Kuching or in Sarawak. And most of the people, or most of us here who has worked in this Holiday Inn, you can find them most in the hotel in Kuching now, because they have spread out, and this is like a learning school to them. First international hotel learning school for pioneers like us or people like us back then. And we are now spreading the hotel service standard that we have learned from the hotel in the Holiday Inn standards at that time. SEDC now is a big, it's a state government company, and of course we are looking into a lot of a lot of business. Example, one of them is under hotel, and we are now having a group called Hemisphere Group, which are managing other hotels. Example like IHG or Hilton Group, we have our own group now. So in our hand, we have about 9 hotels that's under us, under Hemisphere, and as we speak, we are talking about other hotels that we're going to take over under our management team. And as for tourism side, of course, SEDC has pumped in a lot of time, money to make sure that our management on hotels service or hotel line will be top-notch compared to other international groups in the future to come.
In that 28 years, life, the way of working and the way of life has changed stages by stages, right? From Grand Margarita to, from Holiday Inn to Grand Margarita. At that time, I was already in the sales department. So there was a lot of rebranding. We were doing a lot of rebranding, getting the name Grand Margarita out because people still think of Holiday in Kuching. It's not easy to do a rebranding. So there was a lot of work, a lot of marketing, but I'm happy that today everybody knows where Grand Margarita is.
Oh, I think SEDC now should be even stronger because we've accumulated a lot of experience, not just from the successes. I'm sure we would have learned from our mistakes. We made many mistakes in the past as well. Plus now you're more sophisticated. You have better information system. You're more sophisticated leadership in Aziz Hussein and the Chief Minister, and we have grander vision. And these are all very. I imagine all these visions have been carefully articulated, well researched, professionally inputted. So SEDC, I think, will have another glorious run in terms of being the agency that I think the government can depend on in implementing these grand ideas. And I have great respect for the people in SEDC. They have that spirit, and I think under Aziz Hussein, it will be better than when it was under us at that time. Because now it's different. Aziz also would have learned more experience, he's wiser, he's cleverer, and he's been up to date with things. So I think I would imagine that you can look forward to a very successful SEDC in the future.
The last 50 years, yeah, of course, a lot of change. I mean, with the growing population in Sarawak, for example, you can see that there are more people now in Sarawak, and therefore more things need to be done. And I think, of course, there are changes in the social arena, changes in the education system, and of course, changes in the standard of living of the people. The income level has increased, and with more people, there will be more economic activities. And I'm sure we can see that we can actually feel this change over the years. Change actually for the better, change that improve the lives of the people in the state. But of course, there are downsides to development, downsides to change. I mean, as you can see, we have more pollution. Because we have more cars on the street and the road, and it's something that we need to address. There are actually more cars on the road, and therefore there are traffic jams created, and there's also something that we need to address. And I think SEDC will actually be looking at these issues, some of which are social issues, that is now becoming a problem in a growing city like Kuching.
So, this building has seen many of the city's milestones inside its walls.
Meetings, weddings, conferences, events, holidays, and family dinners.
And even relationships. Right next to the corporation's offices until 2018 at SEDC Plaza, the Holiday Inn was the start of the tourism industry in Sarawak.
But it wasn't the end. It is now under the management of SEDC again. as Grand Margarita since 2011 alongside Riverside Majestic.
Now, even the UTC was an SEDC project.
I am so excited to know what happens next.
Well, so am I, because in the next edition, we're going to take a trip to Santubo.
We will see how SEDC went from a single hotel to a whole peninsula.
So when we talk about Damai, of course, it's centered around our facilities in the Damai Peninsula, which are actually the 2 hotels and the cultural village, and of course the Damai Golf Course.